Welcome to my Impact Review, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to say this before I get started with the review. I said last week when we looked at TNA, we saw a more balanced show. Not a better show, just a more balanced one. It looked like TNA had worked on their card and tried to balance out what was being used on it. Now, I was very impressed with that. They usually don't do it that well. Now, when it comes to this show, I felt they tried to balance it out again, but it didn't really get well done. Particularly when you look at the end of the show. I'm sorry, the end of the show was not a balanced idea. It was not good. But let's get through the beginning of the show. The first match of the night. A nightgown match with the beautiful people, Madison Rayne and Brittany. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are not 100% interested in this. But it's understandable why they did it. Let me break it down to you. When you look at TNA, the WWE with their women, as much as you don't like how the WWE is conducting themselves, the reality show of Total Divas is still getting the women over. As much as almost nothing is being done for actual storyline, actual work in the ring, and giving these women real prominent time to do the work that needs to be done, which is the in-ring segments, the promo segments, and the actual matches, the show somewhat compensates for it. Doesn't mean it's better, it just compensates. When it comes to TNA, they don't have that. But from what I can tell now, they're trying to improve this. If Russo is the one who inspired this or signed off on it or whoever, in a sense, it's actually a pretty good idea. I'm going to say it like this. TNA need to bring the men back. They're not WWE when they're mainly focusing their demographics on children and families. TNA is more of an adult type of show compared to the WWE. We know this. So if they want to draw the people back, the 18 to 34-year-old demographic, they got to inspire these guys to come back. Doing this was not 100% unexpected when I heard that was going to be a nightgown match. So, what was it? Evening gown or nightgown? Probably evening gown. But the point is, they're trying to bring the men back. I'm hoping eventually, after they do this more than a few times, and this is not going to end, we're going to have more sexual stuff that's going to show, and I believe they're going to go hardcore as well. But eventually, I believe with enough women that's going to come in, Terrence Terrell hopefully will come back. We're going to get Brooke Tessmacher back eventually. Brooke. ODB, of course, she's boring, but hopefully we'll see more of her. Along with the women that we have already. Hopefully they'll build more women up. I know Rebel is not a wrestler right now, but in the future she could become one. This could rebuild the Knockouts division. Now the match itself. It's a stripping match. Tag team. It wasn't a bad match. I felt it was a little sloppy, but really it wasn't meant to be a technical match. It was meant for the women to strip their asses off. And I thought I saw Madison Rayne's nipples at one point. Since she's still a mother, and I'm sure that she still has milk, that's one of the reasons why her boobs look so damn big. Compared to all the other women, her titties look huge. I think it's because she was milking. That's just me. Anyway, it was the wonderful Angelina Love who won the match. Is this good storytelling? Not totally. It's not. But it's not meant to be right now. It's meant to try and get the men interested. So let's move on to the next match. EC3 versus Angle. Now, I would have liked this being put on a pay-per-view if they'd done it properly. But they decided to do this on TV because they are driven by ratings. I can say this. It wasn't a bad match. But when it came to Angle selling his injury, which he probably looks like he might actually have an injury, it makes some sense. The question's going to be, how far are they going to go with this? I am kind of worried that EC3 is going to get lost in the shuffle here because they're going to focus a lot more on Angle with his injury. The way they were talking earlier, he has a torn ACL, which could be real, could be fake, it doesn't really matter. Work or shoot doesn't matter. The question is, will they focus on it after this heavily? Or are they going to focus on EC3 after this heavily? I don't know which one yet. But I'm hoping beyond stink they focus more on EC3 and do more of a background thing with Angle than anything else. We need to get him over more than Angle. Next, Bromance versus the Wolves in a ladder match for the tag championships. This saddens me. You know why? It's not the fact the match was terrible. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't the fact that Jesse Goddard's almost looked like he's got his butt and his back broken because Eddie Edwards tries to suplex him over the ring and does it wrong, and Jesse whacks his back and his butt into the ring with Eddie. When you see something like that, the full weight of Eddie Edwards is on Jesse's shoulders when he hits the ring. That doesn't fill you with a lot of comfort that Jesse Goddard could actually be hurt. He may be a jobber, but we still need him. So I'm hoping he's alright. But when it comes down to it, it's not the point that Jesse could have been hurt. It's not the point that this was a bad match. It really wasn't that bad. The point is they have nothing else for these guys to do but to give them an extremely hardcore match. Not even on a pay-per-view. They have nothing for the Wolves to do. They're still stuck with Bromance because there's no one else for them to work with. So that really upsets me. That TNA, I'm about to say WWE, that's what upsets me. That the WWE would do something stupid and the TNA would follow them. When they didn't have many matches for the tag teams, what did they do? They started trying to do extreme stuff or repetitive stuff way worse than we ever could see because they had nothing to do with, nothing for them to do. This is the way it is right now. The Wolves have no opponents but Bromance. So to keep the spice going, they have to put these guys, all four of them, no matter if you like Jesse and Robbie, through the worst wrestling matches they could think of to keep the interest going until they find new match. You see I'm botching. New tag teams for them to work with. And that upsets me. The Wolves win, but we actually lose. Because we could have saved this for a pay-per-view. I know this sounds really of a stretch, but it is what it is. Next, a possible tag team in the making. Mike Knox versus Kaz. I gotta admit this. I'm gonna admit two things here. When I saw Adam Rose, I laughed and I screamed. I was having fun with it. I enjoyed Adam Rose's segment coming to the ring. It was epic. I enjoyed it. And that kind of went with the menagerie. I know you're saying, what? Are you kidding me? No. We don't get theatrics like this. Look, you got two guys on fucking stilts with long fucking pants coming out with Mike Knox, Crazy Steve, and Rebel with a Rob Terry as a freak. I have to say, seeing Rob Terry in that position is actually quite good. We don't see his face. The only thing he's there as muscle. He could get over that way. I'm hoping they'll structure them properly. I'm hoping that the Freak and Crazy Steve go after the tag belts because we need something here. I wouldn't mind seeing it. The match was just an ordinary match between Mike Knox and Kazarian. Didn't really matter. Mike Knox won this, but this is for all of them. Having Mike Knox as the leader doesn't sound like a great combination, but it is different. He did a little bit of differences in his attitude, a little bit of difference in his character, which hopefully he can develop better as a leader, because he's not really a great leader. But I am 100% hoping that he will improve and will get the others over enough that when it's time to break them apart, they will work better. This is my hope. And I enjoyed the menagerie. I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed the guys coming out on the stilts. I enjoyed the balloons with Crazy Steve. It was good. You guys tell me if you hated it or not. Now, the Willow segment before the match between him and Magnus was not bad. I keep saying this. I'm going to say it again. Jeff Hardy's trying his hardest to be interesting. he is trying a Phantom of the Opera mixed with someone else, like an opera star or something, like a singer. I'm at least happy to see he's trying. And now when you see Braun with Magnus dealing with this, I'm kind of worried about Magnus here. The match wasn't bad, but the DQ from Braun beating up on Jeff Hardy, well, Willow, then handcuffing him and beating the shit out of him with a monkey wrench, I believe, gives me a lot of fear here, but a lot of hope. Braun is the one that is being focused on right now. It's not Magnus. Now that's the sad part, because Magnus needs focus. He needs to be rebuilt. Now he could still be rebuilt with the guy and become a tag team and go after the tag titles. Or Braun could be all by himself and Jeff Hardy will have a feud with him and build him up that way. It looks like there's going to be a feud between these two guys. And Magnus will be the third wheel in it. It upsets me to see Magnus like this, but I'm not 100% surprised. They just brought in someone new. He's signed now, supposedly. But they're not going to let him just be the guy in the back. They want him to really get over. Now, I'm hoping it will work. They'll find some way to get these two together, Magnus and Braun. I really hope they are a tag team because we really do need it. And it would make sense. Finally, is there anything else? I'm trying to remember. Oh, yes. A few more things left. Rockstar Spud segment at TNA headquarters with Bully Ray and the staff. Bully Ray wasn't too bad, but Rockstar Spud to me shined because he just made it funny. I enjoy Rockstar Spud. He's not a boring character. They keep him in the back. He'll continue to get over. Sooner or later, I believe they're going to turn him face, and he will probably shine. The way he has a comedic attitude, he may shine. So in the end, what do we get from those segments that we got throughout the night? They're hunting for Bully Ray. Well, actually, Bully Ray is hunting for Dixie, but in a sense, we're hunting for Bully Ray. We're hunting for an interest in him. Having him go after a Dixie Carter means that we're supposed to be interested. We're supposed to be invested in Bully Ray to actually succeed. We're hunting for Bully Ray to have more of an interest, more of a presence. Now, to a point, he has. People still like him as a face to a point now. But I don't believe he's going to get 100% over. And my question is this: what happens after he catches Dixie? Does she actually go through a table or not? The woman's 47 or 48 years old. I don't know if they're actually going to pull the trigger on Bully Ray at either an Impact or pay-per-view to put her through a fucking table. So they're going to give us something more to go with Bully Ray. Maybe they're going to bring in a new guy again. They've already brought in Brom. They already brought in Crazy Steve. They already brought back Rob Terry. Let's see what happens now. And I still love Rockstar Spud. He's epic. The final thing we're going to talk about is what happened with MVP, Robert Roode, and Eli. Let's be honest here. I know people are not happy about Eli being compared to a Daniel Bryan. I've always said that maybe at least 6 months to a year ago, they started changing his attitude. Maybe it was inspired by Daniel Bryan, or maybe they believe because of all the hard work he's done over the last 10 years, he deserves to finally have his own time, his own due. You can do that even with a terrible promotion as TNA. So by the time this happens, and the beginning of the show, when Robert Roode deals with Eli again, with a very good segment from Robert Roode. He says simply, we have been in here for 12 years. We have worked together. We came up together. We know each other. We have done Team Canada. We've had the best tag team and the best rivals. I'm not tired this time. I don't have a match tonight. Face me again. No interference. And I'll give you the best match. And if I lose, I'll leave you alone. I felt that was a good thing to say for Robert Roode, even if he's still a heel. But I think he's about to turn face because of what happened later in the night. So when it comes down to it here, when it really comes down to it, after that segment and then the segment with Eli in the office with MVP, I can see where the little hints were of MVP wanting to turn heel, going after Austin Aries, going straight after him. Kenny King really wasn't a tip-off. He really wasn't. But when it comes here with Robert Roode, you could say it was a tip-off. You could say. But that's stretching it. In the end, at the end of the night, when Eli was put over by MVP, Eli gets his ass handed to him by MVP. And now we find out MVP is now going to be the one that he's going to be meeting the Slammiversary. Is this the right person to put with him? It's the only person. I'm going to be honest to you guys. Using the little stealing of the WWE's idea of the Authority is the best option TNA has. They have not built any good heels. They haven't. If Magnus had been a dominant heel, this would be totally different. You could stretch it. But he hasn't built. Heck, you see him botching because it's upsetting that Magnus was sacrificed for AJ Styles. It doesn't matter if Magnus was even a match, if the crowd liked it or not, that Magnus kicked AJ's ass. The point is we needed him. And now 8 months or 7 months later, because he wasn't built, the TNA brass had no option but to go to someone who's currently a face and flip him heel for the next pay-per-view because they don't have anybody. Do I believe that's the best thing to do? No. But to be honest, it's the only thing they could do. There is no one strong enough to go against Eli now. They have very few heels. Kaz and Daniels are not even showing anymore. This is the first time we've seen Kaz in a long time. And if he was there, maybe you could say Kaz and Daniels, if they were signed, one of them could go after Eli and become evil in the next couple of weeks, but it ain't going to happen. This is what we got. Why, TNA? Why did you sacrifice your best people? It's stupid. You're supposed to do good business. And this isn't good business. Now, the entire show was not 100% bad. I enjoyed the menagerie. What happened with Kurt Angle was not bad. When it came to the nightgown, evening gown match, wasn't too bad either. You know what I said about it. But in the end, even though it's almost as good of a balance as they had last week, the ending of the show, having MVP become the new opponent for Eli, isn't good at all. But it's all we have. So I hope you enjoyed the Zane view. Please give me a comment below. Maybe give me a thumbs up once in a while to tell me if I'm doing well or not. And you guys have a good evening. Peace out.